Hello all my subscribers. So as you can tell by the shirt and everything you saw in the intro, this is my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review. Now I was going to split this into two separate videos, but I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and make it one big video. I'm going to split it in half and I'll give a warning when I get into the spoiler section. So without further ado, here is my spoiler-free part of my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review. Alright, so this movie takes place, just to clarify right now, in the timeline. And apparently my cat wants to be a part of this video too. Hey Judy. Hey Judes. Anyway, it takes place a little bit after Avengers Endgame in the timeline, and deals with where the Guardians are at. And it does reference the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It really does help if you've watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special before going into this movie, but it's not essentially required because the movie does touch on a lot of the key points in that holiday special. So, yeah. Anyway, this deals with the Guardians as they've been protecting the universe, and they are dealing with feeling a little fatigued and kind of wanting a little bit of a break from the being the Guardians and whatnot, feeling a little tired, but nonetheless, they still want to fulfill their duties. And I guess Gamora, who, well, the movie was the highest grossing film of all time, so I'm not really revealing that big of a spoiler, but Gamora died in Avengers Infinity War, but the Gamora that loved Star-Lord, Peter Quill, this is a completely different one, and she is not familiar with their relationship all that much at all. And in the spoiler-filled section, I'm going to go into more detail on this relationship and my thoughts. Anyway, guess I'll go ahead and show an image that will establish all the important Guardians. I'm going to say this right now, Kraglin doesn't have a big role in this, so I'm just going to get that out of the way right there, but here's all the big major players in this movie, so yeah. Thought I'd play around with the angle a little bit and get my kitty involved. Maybe I should have her sit on my lap when I do the Godfather review, though I don't really want to get cat fur on my suit when I do that, but nonetheless, she can help me with this Guardians of the Galaxy review. So, anyway, this deals with Rocket Raccoon facing a very serious challenge on, well, we find out his backstory and find out that he was the subject of animal testing. And I guess that's why my cat is with me right now, because let's just say when I go into the spoiler-filled section, it is going to be quite emotional. But, nonetheless, I guess in a general non-spoiler overview of this movie, it had everything I wanted and more. There were many emotional moments, very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, while also having great heart and humor, and also a really solid soundtrack. Let's just say, because of YouTube copyright claims, I'm probably not going to play any, but go check it out. And Florence and the Machine's Dog Days Are Over. My God, that song is on a constant loop in my mind. But yeah, nonetheless, absolutely great. Great choice of songs. Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow's in it, that's really great, used greatly, along with Space Hogs in the meantime. But yeah, overall, just a really solid soundtrack. Also some references to tie it all together back to the first Guardians, so yeah. Anyway, in a spoiler-free stance, the villain, the High Evolutionary. Alright, apparently my cat got down, so alright, I guess now I'm doing this without my cat. Anyway, you gotta see a brief cameo from my cat. But I guess that does emphasize the part of this movie that was a bit hard to get through. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, the High Evolutionary, my God, one of the scummiest villains in cinema in a long time, who viewed animal life as if it didn't fit his image with his god complex, he would just incinerate them. And let's just say, when I go into the spoiler section, You hear about some more fucked up stuff he did to Rocket and some other animals, but nonetheless, they do try to establish why he feels he needs to do what he does. He's probably not up there among the most sympathetic Marvel villains, but they do spend time to develop him, which I did appreciate with James Gunn. And he's kind of an antagonist. He's kind of not, kind of more an anti-hero. I guess I'll go ahead and give my thoughts on Adam Warlock here real quick. I gotta say, maybe Adam Warlock should have been in previous two Avengers movies, but nonetheless, I don't feel like he was done dirty like what some have said about him. Quite frankly, I feel he was used greatly, and I kind of liked where he ended up at the end of the movie. And I think that's all I'm going to be able to say in a spoiler-free sense on this movie. So, if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching the video at this point. So now, let's go ahead and go into the spoiler-filled section. Alrighty, so, anyway, gosh dang, let's just say this. Frickin', oh boy. The High Evolutionary is just an absolute piece of fucking shit. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe him. He would just burn any animal who he thought was inferior. And when Rocket managed to outthink him in many ways, he got all depressed and acted like it was the end of the world and made it his mission to make Rocket's life a living hell. Let's just say Rocket had many experiments from when he was a tiny little baby. And in the very first shot of the movie, you see the High Evolutionary reach out his hand, and a baby Rocket is just like squirming, and you can tell baby Rocket is not looking forward to that. And oh boy, he has such a high-pitched voice, he's just so innocent, and oh boy, now you can see why Rocket kind of became the hardened character that he would eventually become. But Rocket is definitely the heart and soul of this movie, kind of like Yondu was in Volume 2. So yeah, just about everyone did a great job, from the on-set actors to Bradley Cooper voicing him. Just about everything was great. Let me just establish that right now. Everyone gives a great performance. This really was a great swan song for James Gunn to go out on at Marvel. Whether it was Star-Lord, whether it was Vin Diesel as Groot, Pom Klementif as Mantis, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Dave Bautista as Drax, Zoe Saldana as Gamora. Just about everyone gives a great performance. Same thing with the High Evolutionary. I can't say the actor's name, so I'm going to try. I'd butcher it bad. But nonetheless, he was just absolutely incredible. And, gosh dang, I absolutely loved just about all the performances. And I already commented on the soundtrack, so one thing I'll give this movie credit for, though, is in the licensed music songs that John Murphy, the composer, he actually did a pretty good job. It wasn't like the other movies where the score only had a few moments where it shined. This one was actually good in all accounts on that front. But yeah, let's just say many great stunts throughout the movie. There were some stunts that I was really impressed with it, but let's just say there is this really awesome hallway fight where the Guardians go after the High Evolutionary's mutated monsters. But yeah, nonetheless, oh my gosh, it's set to No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Gosh dang, all the Guardians just team up, take down this whole room, mop the floor with it, and it is just really, really great. And I guess I'll go ahead and establish what I withheld in the spoiler-free section. Rocket had some other animal subjects who he became friends with while he was being experimented on by the High Evolutionary. And let's just say the High Evolutionary, from the little they showed, which was just plenty to fill in the blanks of your imagination, he really took Rocket apart and would put him together. Take him apart, put him together, and my god, he was just, absolute scum to him. But nonetheless, there's a cybernetic otter named Lila, who Rocket befriended and kind of had a bit of a fling with, and Flory, who was this seal, and gosh dang, I'm forgetting the name of the rabbit, but let's just say there is one scene in the movie where, well, as you see throughout the whole film, they really connect over their shared experience. And Rocket had been saying, because he saw a rocket ship flying by, that was the name he wanted. In one of the most emotional quotes in the movie, he said, "One of these days I'm gonna get that ship and we'll all fly together into the light." Oh boy. And let's just say, the only major deaths in this whole movie gonna establish that now. Like The Dark Knight Rises, none of the major characters died in this. But nonetheless, I didn't think it was a problem. I'm actually glad none of the Guardians died. But, Lylla and all of Rocket's allies, as Rocket is about to help them escape the makeshift key he made, the High Evolutionary shoots Lylla dead right in front of Rocket. And let's just say the actual death itself hurt. I was honestly hoping that Lylla was gonna live, because she was referenced in Guardians of the Galaxy. And she's also voiced by Laura Barton, another nice piece of trivia, and Velma in the Scooby-Doo movies, the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, because James Gunn was the writer on them, and he was actually going to direct the third Scooby-Doo movie, and I'm going to say this right now. Fans are complaining they want Amazing Spider-Man 3, or fucking Spider-Man 4, or the Snyderverse to come back. Make Scooby-Doo 3. That's the movie that I'm sure me and many others want to see. Make that movie. That is something we want to see. Screw the Ayer cut and all that other shit that I just said. Oh, and Josh Trank's cut of the Fantastic Four. Yeah, no, there's no improvement in that atrocity. But, yeah, anyway, oh boy, just talk about it now is getting me a little emotional. Let's just say Rocket helps Lylla and everyone escape. He opens the door, and the High Evolutionary catches him in the act and shoots Lylla dead right in front of Rocket. Oh god. Oh boy. I got some tissues right here. I'm gonna need them. But yeah, throughout the whole movie, their relationship and their connection was just established, not just with Lylla, but all the other animals, Florey and all them, and the other two dead. High Evolutionary shot him, or I think he had like a little fail-safe little mechanized thing and then that he activated to kill him. I don't know, one or the other, but nonetheless, it frickin' hurt. And I'm not going to try to recreate it. You gotta watch it in the movie itself. But Rocket's scream, it is spine-chilling. Oh, God. The deaths themselves were bad, but Rocket's reaction just made it worse. It was like, oh my gosh. Oh, God. And I'll fully admit, I was crying like a little baby during that scene. It was rough. But anyway, nonetheless, another interesting part of this film I like too was when Counter-Earth, the planet that the High Evolutionary wanted to create, as you saw in the trailer. But yeah, as you see there, there's some real interesting scenes. The first Marvel F-bomb, I really like it when Nebula is having a hard time opening a car door, and Star-Lord's like, "Get in the fucking car!" Oh god, that was just really great, but yeah, nonetheless, it was nice to see the Guardians there, and when they go to meet up with the High Evolutionary, I just love how Star-Lord immediately calls him out on his shit, and how Nebula was saying, "You know you're going in for a slaughter, right?" And it was like, "No, this is a standoff. We're equally important. We're equally matched." And frickin' Groot stored Star-Lord's guns in his arms and stuff. And gosh dang, at least a really epic shot where Groot with multiple arms and Star-Lord, they're all blasting all the guards that the High Evolutionary had and trying to go after him too. So here's that. But yeah, nonetheless, gosh dang. It was just really great how that happened, and they needed to get some information from this one informant of the High Evolutionary, and it is a really great and surprisingly brutal scene where Star-Lord just pushes the guy out. He doesn't have a jetpack on or nothing, and by sheer dumb luck, Groot creates wings on his side and flies him down before he hits the surface of this planet that the High Evolutionary destroyed. And in a really brutal torture scene, he is just messing this guy up, and he gets what he wants in his little head implant and just leaves him there to die. Holy shit, that got surprisingly dark, but I kind of loved it. And then that leads to the Guardians with their headquarters being nowhere, which was the head of a dead Celestial, who are like they're like major space gods, at least in the MCU. I think they have the same role in the Marvel Comics universe, but that's what they are in the MCU. And the High Evolutionary wants Rocket back. He's all obsessed about it, but all his underlings are kind of beginning to question what they, why they're doing this. And gosh dang, it is just fucking a really great scene where it's almost like Star Wars level action, where everything is just flying around, but the focus is never lost on all the key Guardians where everyone is at. And there is one scene where it looks like Nebula, Drax, and Mantis might not make it because they're at this door and they're pounding on it to get in. And the High Evolutionary abducted some children. So not only does he torture fucking animals, but he tortures children too. Just, oh, he has no respect for anyone in the galaxy. And oh boy. And he had a zoo full of animals that he had kidnapped too. Oh my fucking gosh, the more I talk about the High Evolutionary, gosh, if the High Evolutionary was a real person, ooh boy, I'd fuck his ass up, let's just put it that way. But yeah, gosh dang, it was just so fucking, oh gosh dang, it was so awesome too when the Guardians all team up and some of the High Evolutionary guards were about ready to kill him near the end, but like, hey, if you kill us, then this ship is going to blow up and you're not going to get out of here. Like, okay, yeah. And they backed off. It was really nice, too. And Rocket personally goes after the High Evolutionary. And I kind of like how he could have easily just killed him. He had his gun pointed right at him. But he decided to take the high road. He's like, no, but I'm a guardian of the galaxy. I ain't going to do it. And he kind of just let his own ego destroy him, because that's what led to his ship being destroyed. He was very careless and put his ship in a vulnerable position, and that was what ended up being his undoing. But yeah, nonetheless, it does lead to a really great scene where Rocket looks at a raccoon. He rescues a lot of other baby raccoons, and finally embraces being called Rocket Raccoon. Because in the previous movies, he didn't like being called a raccoon, but now he's like, yeah, I'm a raccoon. I'm Rocket Raccoon. Oh god, just really great, really sweet. And Star-Lord damn near almost had a near-death experience when he was jumping off. Gosh dang, his second time being in space and nearly dying. But yeah, his whole face puckers up and he was dead for a few seconds, and you just see all the other Guardians, including Cosmo the dog. Forgot to highlight her, she's real cool too. But yeah, she uses her mental abilities after the Guardians rescue all the children and all the animals and everyone that was being held captive by the High Evolutionary. And then he comes back and he's like, it's alright, I'm fine. And then it leads to the really emotional final scene where the Guardians go their separate ways. Nonetheless, I kind of liked where just about everyone ends up. Nebula decides to become like the leader / mother figure of all the children on Nowhere. And that's the role she takes on. Same thing with with Kraglin, which was really nice. Oh, and another scene too, I forgot to mention too. Kraglin finally masters the little bow with Yondu. And in a really sweet scene, he sees in a flash, he sees Yondu talking to him saying, you don't use your head to control this, you use your heart. And you just see him master it. I can't whistle for shit, but just, he whistles like that. Okay, just imagine I whistle, because I can't whistle for shit. See, that's what happens when I try to whistle. Anyway, oh god, that was a really sweet moment too. And also with Cosmo, how he kept calling Cosmo a bad dog, and throughout the whole movie, Cosmo was all like distraught about it. And then Cosmo uses her abilities to help him out, and he's all like, good dog, good dog. And yeah, Cosmo stays behind, same thing with Kraglin. And Drax, because one of the big things I liked about this movie was Nebula kept calling out Drax saying, how do you help us? And then Mantis defends him saying, he's funny, and he's a damn good father. And he decides to become, I guess, the father for all the children of Nowhere and for the planet, and co-lead the Nowhere civilization with Nebula. And Mantis decides to go her own way due to her tragic being manipulated by ego and all that stuff, and decides to go find herself, as it was what she felt was best and what Drax came to accept. And Star-Lord decided, too, in a real sweet way, that he was done running away from Earth because he kept doing it. Though he did come back to Earth for Tony Stark's funeral in Avengers Endgame, but now that I think about it, I guess he probably didn't stay long, and he didn't go visit his grandpa, his only living family left since his dad's dead and his mom died, and yeah. And in a really sweet scene, you see him go find his address in Missouri where his grandpa lived. You think that he's dead just with this little tribute wall, only to then see his grandpa, and oh my gosh, heartwarming scene, and oh boy, another scene that had me crying, tearing up. It was really, really sweet. And also another nice scene, too, where Gamora decides to go back to be with the Ravagers. They're the same group that Star-Lord was a part of. And she says to him, you know, I bet we had fun. I bet we were fun. And then Star-Lord comes to accept, as he'd been dealing with the fact that she didn't love him throughout the whole movie. He was like, you know, what we had was good, but I'll always have those memories. And he's like, I guess I just gotta let you go, which was really nice. And I'm kind of glad they didn't just have them fall back in love together, because that would have just felt real cheap, and with the way the movie was going, it would not have worked. And there would be a much different tone in this review if that was how it ended. But nonetheless, it was just absolutely sweet, absolutely wonderful. And, yeah, I just, oh boy. All the characters got some satisfying conclusions, and this movie proved that you don't have to have character deaths in the final movie. There are ways around it. And this is just really another great trilogy from Marvel. Captain America, another great trilogy. Same Iron Man. Oh, and a quadrilogies too, count too, like the Avengers. So, yeah. For a swan song for James Gunn to go out on, there really was no better one, because, yeah. This movie had it all, and, one last scene I want to highlight, too, that I almost forgot because I got so wrapped up in the climax. There's one really sweet scene where Rocket is near death. And I guess the little kill switch that the High Evolutionary acted was about to take his life. And I guess we see the Marvel equivalent to heaven, because Rocket is going in there and he's talking to Lila and Florey. And he's like, I've been tortured so much. What more do I have to give? Like, seriously, I want to join you guys. And you think that he's about to go with them into the afterlife, or the MCU equivalent to heaven, I guess. But Lila says no. But you are going to stay here. The universe needs you, Rocket. We'll be fine. And I guess it gives him all the pep talk he needs to go in and take down the High Evolutionary after that, because he comes back to life, and gosh dang, just absolutely incredible. And the last thing, too, I forgot to mention, too, I guess Groot decides to stay on Nowhere also. Or no, wait, not Nowhere, he stayed with the Guardians. Some of the Guardians stayed with the team, but they shuffled everyone around. Rocket became the new leader because Star-Lord begins to realize he's a better leader than him, and after this movie, let's just say he definitely proved with flying colors why. And one of the children who had superpowers, I believe her name was, oh god, it was connected to the Marvels family. I forget her name. Oh god, but anyway, look that up. She's a new member of the team, along with Cosmo, and also Adam Warlock. That was the point I was leading to. Adam Warlock, he joins this new team of the Guardians, and that leads to a really nice mid-credit scene where they all team up and go after another threat, showing that there will still be the Guardians defending the galaxy. It's just the team is done, and the story really closed it out, and I guess the Guardians can still come back for major crossovers like Avengers The Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars, but the team won't entirely be the same. But this really was a great way to handle it. I'm happy with the way these arcs were handled. And just about every character had a huge change in their development, which I really liked too. And just overall, that was just really nice and really sweet. Oh, and in this post-credit scene too, Star-Lord talks to his grandpa, and we see a big text here saying the legendary Star-Lord will return. So rest assured, Star-Lord's definitely coming back. The Guardians might be done, but Star-Lord will be back. So I guess the rumors are not true that Chris Pratt's going over to DC. I guess he's sticking around. Last thing I want to highlight too, the credits are absolutely amazing. This movie opens with the Marvel logo having nothing but Guardians on it. All the Guardians. It was really sweet. And all the credits have various different shots of the whole team together throughout production and whatnot everywhere. And yeah, it was just really great, really incredible. And then that was the final post-credit scene, and just some nice little tributes, and you see one last little shot of the whole team. It was just really great. Last thing I want to say on this, I don't know if she'll watch this video, but I follow her on Instagram and TikTok. To Seattle Beauty, Sarah Dean, I gotta say this right now. Congratulations on working on this film. I really love what you did with the role you played with the Nowhere, and also that one guard of the High Evolutionary, and being a stand-in for Mantis also. Sarah, absolutely incredible. You're an inspiration. I gotta say this right now, Sarah. You rock. Let me put it that way before I start starving. You rock. Not only acting-wise, but you're just a great person, and also amazing cosplayer. But the most important part, you're a great person. And I gotta say this too, your boyfriend is very lucky to have you. And you two got some epic couple cosplays, so gotta say that right there. They are quite amazing, and you should be proud of everything on this movie. And I can tell you enjoyed the premiere from watching what you shared, but nonetheless, yeah, did a really great job. I hope you get to work on more Marvel films, and yeah, I guess I just want to go and give you a little shout out there. So anyway, I guess that's my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, spoiler-free and spoiler-filled. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace!